Having high blood pressure is damaging your body in so many different ways. Let's talk about 3 organs that are being damaged by high blood pressure. So you've gone to the clinic, you sat down in a chair, they put the cup around your arm, they press the button and do, 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 do. Boom. You guys both looked at that monitor and you saw it. You saw it. Your blood pressures were elevated. You may go home and think, my life was fine before I walked into that office. I don't feel anything. So why do I have to change what I'm doing? Why do I have to take medications if I feel okay? But here's the thing. High blood pressures are damaging your organs and your body silently. And some of that damage can be irreversible. Americans are spending so much money on medication. One ailment, another medication. One issue, another medication. When really it just gets down to how you are living. A lot of times I tell patients that high blood pressure is like an alarm going off in a burning building. Taking medication is like silencing that alarm. If you were in your home and you knew that your home were burning down, what would you do? Would you get the water? Would you put out the fire? Or would you put on the earmuffs and cozy up in your bed? When there is fire going on, there is damage going on, you have to address it. A lot of times, medications will quiet that noise. But if you continue to live in the same lifestyle that caused a lot of your problems, the damage will continue. Maybe not at the same scale as without the medication. Now, I'm going to say this here because this needs to be said. I would rather you take medications than ignore the problem completely. Ignoring the problem completely is like going to that fire and pouring oil on it. Or going to that fire and pouring gas on it. At some point, you're going to have to address that fire. You're going to have to reverse that fire. You are going to have to make the changes it takes to put the fire out. Medications may help. In fact, I'll go back. They will help for a short term, but eventually you will need more medication. You will need a higher dose. You will need a whole different regimen. Talk to most patients and they'll tell you the blood pressure medication that they started off on is not what they are on years later, because that fire is still burning. You haven't put it out yet. Now, that doesn't mean I'm telling you not to take medications at all. Not at all. Because not taking medications when you know your blood pressures are high is like going to that fire and dousing it with oil or gas. You are really letting that fire rage. You must be a pyromaniac. There is no YOLO here. There is no, I'm going to keep living how I'm living and enjoy life. You're not enjoying life while your body is burning down. So you go home, you sit down, you're on your bed, you're thinking, you're contemplating. What does this really mean? What should I do? Well, before I tell you what you should do, let's talk about what's happening in your body with your organs. Let's talk about 3 organs that are damaged by high blood pressure. Now, the first organ I want to talk to you guys about when it comes to damage from high blood pressure is your kidneys. Your kidneys are 2 organs that sit in your back. They look like kidney beans, literally. And they sit in your back and they have a big role to play. They are metabolizing, they are cleaning, they are serving to help excrete waste out of your body. Waste that you do not have to think about because your kidneys are handling that. You drink water and you urinate it out. The water goes in, whatever color or whatever fluid you eat goes in whatever color. It comes out this pale yellow fluid called urine. And in that urine is all kinds of stuff, but just know that a lot happened for it to get there. When you have high blood pressures that are uncontrolled, you are damaging your kidneys. How? That pressure is being seen by the kidneys at the organ level. It's hitting your kidneys constantly. It's like you have this beautiful garden and you know you need to water that garden. You know you need to give it the water for those plants and those flowers to thrive. But when it's time to water that garden, instead of getting the typical garden hose, you go and get a fire hose, thinking that's a good idea. And you blast that garden. What's left? There is nothing left. All of those plants, all of those flowers, any fruit or vegetable that was growing, the whole garden is unrecognizable. That is what you're doing to your kidneys when you continue to allow that pressure to hit that organ. Eventually, the vessels going to the kidneys become tight and hardened. Now, when you knock your kidneys out, what do you have? You have what we call chronic kidney disease. A lot of people with high blood pressure end up with what we call chronic kidney disease, which is a disease of the kidney that is chronic. It's over a long period of time. We have it graded 1 through 5. When you start off at 1, it's mild. If someone says that you have kidney disease type 1 or stage 1, it's not something to ignore. It's there. And you can extend all the way up to stage 5. Once you've passed stage 5, then you may go into what we call end-stage renal disease, meaning that your kidneys can no longer do the function anymore. It's no longer able to remove that waste. You need to go on what we call dialysis. Dialysis, which is we hook you up to a machine that goes through your artery and your vein, and it pulls out the blood and does a washing of sorts. Now, when you get to the point where you need dialysis, that is when your kidneys are no longer taking out any of the toxins. They will build up in your body and cause severe problems. You need dialysis. It's not a choice. Once your kidneys are no longer working, no longer excreting, no longer doing the functions that the kidneys need to do, you need dialysis at that point. It's not a question. Because those toxins can build up and you will eventually see your demise. So hemodialysis, peritoneal dialysis, whatever dialysis it may be, is a life-saving measure. I'm going to talk about hemodialysis because that is one of the more common types of dialysis that you will see. And that's when they hook you up to a machine, artery and vein. They pull the blood off and do a washing of sorts. They're removing these toxins. They're removing these byproducts that may build up in the body. They remove that, filter that out, and return your blood back to you. It sounds easy. It's hard. It's hard on your body. It takes a lot of monitoring, and it takes a lot sitting on that machine for 4 hours a day. A lot of patients who come off of dialysis are feeling tired. They're feeling wiped out because they just went through a huge process where a machine is removing a toxin as opposed to the kidneys. So it is important that you prioritize your kidneys. You take care of your kidneys. Your kidneys are doing a big work, and you may not feel it. You may not feel it, but they're doing a great work every single day that should not be taken lightly. When you have high blood pressure, those pressures are hitting your kidneys constantly over time, and they are damaging your kidneys and putting you at risk for conditions that will alter your life. The next organ that is damaged by high blood pressures is the heart. It's the heart. It's right here. Sits in the middle of your chest. And here's the thing. When your pressures are high peripherally, that's out in the body, we call that the peripheral. When your blood pressures are high peripherally, the vessels are clenched up. The heart has to work past all of that to get blood through. The heart is pumping harder, harder, harder to get blood to the periphery where the vessels are like this. Your blood pressures are high and your heart is doing all this extra work. What does that mean for your heart? One, your heart can hypertrophy, and we call that basically when the muscles in your heart get thicker. Have you ever seen a bodybuilder? They go exercising, they're putting pressure on that muscle and breaking that muscle down over time. Just saying. Now, imagine that's your heart under all that strain constantly. The muscles in your heart will enlarge, they will thicken, but that's not good because all that extra muscle in your heart now needs to be perfused. Or in other words, that muscle in your heart needs blood too. You can go into heart failure. Your heart has been pumping against that pressure for so long, it's now hypertrophied, and it can't anymore. It conks out. Done. Heart is done. Heart is over it. Heart is now, the muscle is saggy, the muscle is limp, the muscle is no good. We call that heart failure. You can have what we call an arrhythmia, which is a different heart rhythm that's normal. Usually the whole lubbed up, but when your heart's going because there's so much damage to the heart muscle, the electric in the heart can no longer flow in the way it should because it is tired of beating against high blood pressure. All of these things start to happen. It may be irreversible. You don't want to wait until your blood pressures are so uncontrolled, so unregulated before you start to make a change. You want to control them now. Your heart may be fine now. The center of your body right here, it may be fine now. But after years of having high blood pressure, it may not be fine later. So you have to take it seriously. The brain. You know, they say hypertension is a silent killer, which it is. But a lot of times when people have severely high blood pressures, one thing they experience is headaches. Headaches. You know, they're vessels. They go straight up through your neck and into your brain that perfuse and bring blood to and nutrients and oxygen to your brain. We are listening, we are here, we are engaging because of our brains. And our brains are getting the needed fuel from the blood that's delivered to our hearts, right? But when your pressures are high, that you're just hosing your brain down with pressures. And those vessels, same thing, start to tighten up. And then you can have pain, you can have strokes, you can have dizziness, fogginess. Over time, you can have mental decline, cognitive decline, dementia from chronically having high blood pressure. Have a stroke from high blood pressure. And if you go to the hospital and they drop that blood pressure too fast, you can have a stroke from that. The pressures are highly regulated in your body. So sometimes you have your blood pressures really high, then you go in to see a doctor and they lower them, and that can be a problem too, because now you have a brain that's used to a certain amount of pressure. It thinks it's stroking out as well. Well, what happened to all that blood I was seeing just 5 minutes ago? So it's like a double-edged sword. You feel like you can't win. Well, I'll tell you how you can win. I will tell you how you can win, and that is by changing your life. Getting to the bottom of the blood pressure. Why is your blood pressure high? Why is your blood pressure high? Let's start there. Let's start there. There's always a root cause for everything. I'd like to say something. I have to put this out there for real and for serious because I'm always going to be 100% honest with you and real. If you are having high blood pressures that are elevated, you go to the clinic, you go to your doctor, and your blood pressures are out of control, you need to make a decision. Depending on how high they are, you may need to start medication. I know a lot of us are here at this channel because we want to reverse disease and we want to come off of medications, but you cannot let your blood pressures be uncontrolled and unchecked over a period of time without addressing it. Take those medications, do what you have to do. Get your blood pressures into a proper level to where you can work and do those lifestyle changes. Maybe you can take your medications, do the lifestyle changes at the same time, and see where that takes you. But don't be out here with blood pressures in the 180s, 200s. First of all, you need to go straight to your nearest emergency center, okay, when blood pressure's that high. But don't be out here with blood pressures that are uncontrolled, saying that you're reversing or you're doing lifestyle change. Get at it early and work with your primary care physician, your cardiologist, your nephrologist, that's a heart doctor, that's a kidney doctor. Work with them, let them know what you're doing. If you're taking medications, pay attention to what you're eating. Pay attention to how you're moving. Pay attention to how you're fueling. Pay attention to how you're resting. Pay attention to your stress. But again, we're going to get into that. We're going to get all the way into that because it's not light like that. It's not something I'm just going to dabble in and jump out of. We're going to get to the bottom of what blood pressure is, how it affects you, everything. We're touching on everything here. Now, if you got my book, you can jump ahead. You'll have all the information at your fingertips. Either way, we're going to talk about it here. So please stay tuned. If you know anybody who's struggling from high blood pressure, recommend them here because these videos will be rolling out. And feel free to like, share, subscribe so I can build this community and get you guys the content and the education that you need. And drop it in the comments what you are doing, how you've been affected, what you've seen with your own eyes, how things have gone for you. You know, have you had some of these conditions? Have they been reversed? Do you struggle with kidney problems? Do you struggle with heart problems? Do you struggle with cognitive function or brain issues or strokes? And I want you to also be encouraged because just because you have those conditions doesn't mean it's too late. If you're at chronic kidney disease stage 2, we got to keep you from progressing. Even if you're at chronic kidney disease stage 4, we got to keep you from progressing. Even if you are at ESRD, that's end stage, on dialysis, we still got work to do. As long as you are up and awake and here, we got work to do. And that is to optimize your life and get you the most out of it. This is my passion. Hey, now I do have 2 books out already. That is How to Reverse High Blood Pressure Naturally, How to Reverse Diabetes Naturally. They are both available on Amazon. You can check them out at the links below. I also am doing some health consultations. So if you have any burning questions, link below, hit me up. I do not answer any questions in my DMs or in my emails. You have to understand, I get a lot of mail, I get a lot of fan mail, I get a lot of questions, I get a lot of DMs, and it's just a very tricky place to start giving any medical knowledge or input when I don't have a full picture. So I do recommend that if you do have any questions, I can guide you to the right source, whether that is guiding you to a primary care doctor or, you know, giving you further education or reading. I'm happy to do that, but please click a link for a consultation below. Also, we have a 21-day challenge going on right now in January of 2025, so I encourage you guys to hop on that. The link is below. Please join. We ain't doing nothing but sharing our food, sharing our movement, sharing our mindfulness, and encouraging one another. So feel free to jump in there as well. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.